My name is Brian Anderson. I am the Operations Section Chief Trainee on Eric White's Type 3 Incident Management Team. I've got current situation update for you on the Grizzly Creek fire. 2 days ago, we were able to fly a reconnaissance mission into the Grizzly Creek area after we got some report of a little bit of smoke starting to show from our lookouts up there. Myself, along with the incident commander and incident commander trainee, flew a helicopter reconnaissance, visibly checking out all of this area in here, and we did identify some smoke in there with the help of the air attack platform that was flying overhead. The following day, which is yesterday now, we were able to fly a couple of people in on that helicopter after having identified a helispot. They flew into this point and they were able to walk in to check out some of the heat that was along this edge. We had at least 4 distinct pockets of heat down this fire's edge, all the way down into the corner of our red line in Grizzly Creek. Their evaluation has given us quite a lot of information to be able to support our operational decisions, as the entire area has been tactically and strategically difficult due to the terrain in there, very steep slopes, a lot of rock buttresses and cliff bands, and high levels of objective hazard for putting personnel in there. So it has been under monitor since the time it got into Grizzly Creek, but we thought with the weather, we'd like to explore the option to make use of potential opportunity to put some of that heat to bed and close some of that off from potentially coming further up drainage or up onto the slopes. The team that went in there was able to get in, and they did minimal work securing some heat. All of the heat that they found was in the duff, moving around in the needle cast. Very slowly, no flame showing, just smoldering. They did some meaningful work in this section on the first chunk of heat that they found, and a little bit on the second piece of heat that they found. And their primary task was to evaluate whether or not it was going to make sense strategically, and more so from a safety perspective, to put people in there to line the rest of the heat. They were not able to access some stuff that they knew was up higher due to the cliff bands, and they were not able to access the things that were further down drainage in Grizzly Creek, again, just due to accessibility issues. After their report, we did determine that we would continue with our monitor mission in that area due to the safety issues and the difficulty of extraction of any injured personnel, and the likelihood of getting personnel injured was not making sense to us. So this is a continual monitor. We have plans in place for the eventuality or possibility of anything moving through here, or potentially moving up drainage or out of the drainage. So that's where we will focus our suppression efforts at this point. Moving off of Grizzly Creek, the rest of the fire we can see is still sitting at 91% containment. All of the lines are black except for the chunk in Grizzly Creek. We have been doing quite a lot of repair and rehab work, from just kind of fixing up the suppression work that we've done in there and mending some of those lines and fences and the damage that was done in fighting this fire. We've had great success across the fire with this. On this side of the fire, we do have this dozer line that does also follow the transfer trail in places and comes off of the transfer trail in places, up and down ridges, putting it in the best places possible for success if we did have to fire it or hold it at some point. We are far past that point now, so it has been under repair status for several days now, many days. We're making pretty good progress. This is a really difficult piece of ground to get equipment in on, and we're doing all of this work with an excavator. We have a dozer coming in as well to repair some of these helisports and safety zones that were put in place. But due to the steepness and narrowness and ruggedness of this transfer trail to get in there, like I said, getting equipment in there is difficult, and it takes just the right piece of equipment, and we've only found one with one operator that can and is willing to do it. So this may turn into somewhat of a long-term project, maybe a couple more weeks to completion for rehab on this side. Coming back down around the south, All line repair has been completed. We are working now on just tying up some loose ends. We do have a couple log decks that were put onto private property during that suppression effort that are being skidded out and removed to get that off of private property and out of their grazing areas so that they can have cattle in there next year without being impacted. There were fences damaged by fire and falling trees and also cut open for equipment in multiple locations, and those are all under repair today up along this section. We do have one piece to finish on this side that we can't get people or equipment that can repair it properly, but it's in a really good place for seeding, so that will be reseeded at the appropriate time. And that covers everything to the Bear Ranch area. The Bear Ranch area, we are working with the landowners and the resource advisors and the agencies to make sure that everything that needs to be repaired is repaired in the proper fashion and through the proper channels. Coming back around this side, all of this has been cold for a long time. All repair has finished all the way across the top of this fire back to Grizzly Creek, complete. Coffee Pot Road has been opened. We are starting to see a lot of forest visitors and hunters come in there, so they are now able to access everything north of the fire has been open to them for hunting purposes, which is fantastic since this is tie-in and access to the Flat Tops Wilderness up above here. We are still holding on to one helicopter. We've got 9 Fox that is in rifle and available to us, as well as a UAS, an unmanned aerial system, that is up on the north end of the fire that is able to access some of this stuff and fly for infrared imaging and also video imaging. And that is the end of my report.